Good evening, seekers of the unseen. Welcome to the shadow behind you, where we delve into the forgotten crevices of history, unearthing tales that time itself has tried to bury. Tonight, we turn our gaze to a place where the earth swallows its secrets whole. A hollow in the rugged Ozark Hills of Missouri, where the year 1876 birthed a darkness that slithers still in the underbelly of memory. Imagine, if you will, a mist-shrouded valley known as Crow Hollow, nestled near the fledgling town of Ivor, then little more than a cluster of log cabins and dirt roads carved from the wilderness. The air there hangs heavy with the scent of damp soil and decaying leaves, and the crows. Oh, the crows! Perch like sentinels on twisted branches, their cries echoing like warnings from the grave. It was in this forsaken corner of the American frontier that a cult emerged, not from the light of revelation, but from the depths of primordial fear. They called themselves the Order of the Coiled One, worshippers of the serpent, a symbol as ancient as sin itself. But this was no mere gathering of eccentric souls. This was a brotherhood bound by blood and shadow, conducting rituals in hidden caverns beneath the hollow, where the ground pulses like a living vein. Their story has been scrubbed from church ledgers, erased from family Bibles, and whispered only in the dead of night. Why? Because some truths are too venomous to survive the light. Picture the scene. It's 1876, the centennial year of a nation still bleeding from the Civil War's wounds. Ava, founded just 5 years prior as Militia Springs, a nod to the Union encampments that once dotted these hills, is a beacon of pioneer spirit. Settlers flock here, drawn by the promise of fertile land and freedom from the old world's chains. But beneath the surface, something stirs. The Ozarks, with their labyrinthine caves and serpentine rivers, have long harbored mysteries. Native legends speak of great underground spirits, serpents that guard the threshold between life and the abyss. The Osage and Cherokee peoples, who roamed these lands before the white man's axe fell, revered the snake as a harbinger of renewal, its shedding skin a metaphor for rebirth. Yet, in the hands of the cult, this symbol twisted into something profane. Our tale begins with a vanishing, not of people at first, but of records. In the dusty archives of Douglas County's churches, pages from 1876 are torn away as if clawed by invisible talons. Baptisms, marriages, deaths, all gone, leaving gaps like open wounds in the leather-bound tomes. Historians puzzle over it, attributing it to fire or flood, but those who know better speak of a deliberate purge. A curse, perhaps, or a cover-up by those who survived the cult's grasp. What drove a community to worship the serpent? Was it desperation in the face of frontier hardships? Droughts that withered crops? Fevers that claimed children? Or something deeper? A call from the earth's hidden heart. As we descend into this narrative, feel the chill creep up your spine. The shadows lengthen, and the ground beneath you seems to shift, as if something below is awakening. Listen closely, for in Crow Hollow, the serpents never truly sleep. They wait coiled in the dark, ready to strike at the unwary. And tonight, dear listener, you are stepping into their lair. Let me paint the landscape for you. The Ozarks rise like the spine of a slumbering beast, their hills cloaked in dense forests of oak and hickory. Crow Hollow itself is a depression in the earth, a natural basin where fog pools like spilled milk, obscuring the entrances to caves that riddle the limestone bedrock. In 1876, the town of Ava is burgeoning a general store, a blacksmith, and the First Baptist Church, its steeple piercing the sky like a defiant finger pointed at God. But faith here is fragile, tested by isolation and the wild unknown. Settlers whisper of strange lights in the hollow at night, of livestock found drained of blood, their bodies marked with sinuous patterns. Enter Elias Thorne, a fictional yet archetypal figure in our tale, a preacher newly arrived from the East, bearing the scars of war and a secret longing for forbidden knowledge. Thorne, with his piercing eyes and voice like rolling thunder, establishes a congregation in Ava, but soon he discovers an ancient artifact in the hollow, a stone tablet etched with serpentine glyphs, unearthed during a cave collapse. This relic, perhaps left by ancient mound builders or wandering mystics, ignites a fire in his soul. He gathers a select few, disillusioned farmers, widows seeking solace, and outcasts hungry for power, forming the core of the cult. The hook, my friends, lies in the vanishings. By midsummer 1876, entire families disappear into the hollow, their homes left untouched. Meals half eaten on tables. Church records note their last attendances, then nothing. As if they slithered into the earth and were consumed. Rumors spread like venom sacrifices to a great serpent god, rituals invoking immortality through the shedding of mortal flesh. But who erased the evidence? And why do modern explorers in those caves report hearing whispers, feeling cold scales brush against their skin in the pitch black? As we proceed, remember history is not a straight path, but a coiled trail, leading back to primal fears. The Serpent Cult of Crow Hollow is more than a forgotten footnote. It's a reminder that beneath our civilized veneer lurks something ancient and hungry. Stay with me as we uncoil the tale, layer by layer, until the shadow behind you reveals its fangs. Now, let us descend deeper into the heart of the story. The year is 1876, and the sun hangs low over the Ozark Hills like a bloodshot eye, casting long shadows across Crow Hollow. The air is thick with the buzz of cicadas and the metallic tang of impending rain. Ava, still known to many as Militia Springs, is a raw wound on the landscape. Timber, framed houses clustered around a muddy main street where wagons creak under loads of furs and grain. The people here are hardy, forged in the fires of civil strife, but their eyes hold a wariness as if the land itself watches them. Our protagonist, Reverend Elias Thorne, arrives on a dusty stagecoach in early spring. Tall and gaunt, with a beard like tangled roots and eyes that gleam with unspoken fervor, Thorne carries a worn Bible and a hidden journal filled with esoteric sketches. He fled Boston after a scandal involving occult studies, whispers of seances and forbidden texts that clashed with his Puritan upbringing. In Ava, he sees redemption, a chance to build a flock untainted by urban corruption. The First Baptist Church, a modest wooden structure with a bell tower that tolls mournfully at dusk, becomes his domain. But the hollow calls to him. Crow Hollow lies just beyond the town's edge, a sunken valley where crows gather in murderous flocks, their black feathers glinting like obsidian. Legends abound. The Osage spoke of it as a place where the great serpent slumbered, its body forming the caves that honeycomb the earth. Settlers avoid it, claiming the ground trembles at night, and strange vapors rise from fissures, carrying the scent of sulfur and decay. One fateful afternoon, Thorne ventures into the hollow, drawn by an inexplicable pull. The path descends steeply, overgrown with thorny vines that snag at his coat like grasping fingers. The light filters through the canopy in mottled patterns, dancing like will-o'-the-wisps. He stumbles upon a cave mouth half concealed by fallen boulders from a recent landslide. Inside, the air grows cooler, damper, echoing with the drip of water like a slow heartbeat. Deeper in, his lantern reveals the artifact, a slab of limestone ancient and weathered, inscribed with coiling serpents intertwined around a central figure, a humanoid form with a reptilian head. Symbols etched in faded ochre suggest rituals of renewal, offerings to invoke the serpent's power. Thorne's hands tremble as he traces the lines. A rush of forbidden ecstasy courses through him. This, he believes, is the key to true salvation. Not the distant God of heaven, but the tangible force beneath the earth, promising eternal life through transformation. He shares his discovery with a trusted few. First, Widow Harlan, a sharp-eyed woman whose husband perished in the war, leaving her with a farm teetering on ruin. Her bitterness toward a silent God makes her receptive. Then, farmer Josiah Blackwood, whose crops fail year after year, blaming it on cursed soil. And young Amelia Voss, an orphan with visions that the town dismisses as madness, dreams of slithering shapes in the dark. They meet in secret, at midnight in the church basement, where Thorne unveils the tablet. The serpent is not evil. He intones, his voice a hypnotic murmur. It is the embodiment of change, shedding the old to embrace the new. In its coils we find immortality. They begin simple rites, chanting ancient words pieced from Thorn's books, anointing themselves with cave mud mixed with serpent venom harvested from local rattlers. The venom induces visions, hallucinations of a great underground realm where serpents whisper secrets of the universe. As summer approaches, the cult grows. Whispers spread among the disillusioned, a blacksmith whose forge fires dim unnaturally, a doctor haunted by patients lost to mysterious fevers. They descend into the caves, mapping tunnels that twist like intestines. In one chamber, they find natural altars, stalagmites shaped like hooded cobras, and perform their first blood rite. A lamb is sacrificed, its blood pooling in serpentine patterns, and the members drink a concoction laced with venom, feeling their bodies writhe with ecstatic pain. Tension builds as omens appear. Livestock vanishes from pastures, found days later in the hollow, skins shed like husks, bones arranged in coils. Villagers murmur of witchcraft, but Thorn preaches fire and brimstone from the pulpit, deflecting suspicion. Amelia, now his devoted acolyte, experiences vivid prophecies. The Great One awakens. She gasps, eyes rolling back. It hungers for the unworthy. One night, during a storm that lashes the hills with lightning like divine wrath, the cult gathers in the deepest cavern. Thunder rumbles above, but below, the air is still pregnant with anticipation. Thorn, robed in snakeskin, leads a chant that echoes off the walls. As the rite peaks, the ground shudders. A minor quake, perhaps, but to them, it's the serpent stirring. In the chaos, Josiah glimpses something in the shadows. A massive form, scales glistening, eyes like glowing embers. Fear and exhilaration mingle. The cult's numbers swell to 24, including prominent families, but cracks form. Widow Harlan questions the escalating demands. More blood, more secrecy. Thorn silences dissent with visions of paradise, but the Hollow's influence grows insidious. Members report dreams of being constricted, suffocated by invisible coils, waking with bruises like fang marks. By midsummer, the first vanishing occurs. The Blackwood family, Josiah, his wife, and 2 children, fail to appear at church. Their farm stands empty, doors ajar, a half-cooked meal cooling on the stove. Search parties comb the hollow, but find only a shed snakeskin near the cave entrance, unnaturally large. Whispers turn to accusations, but Thorn assures the town it's a tragic accident, perhaps a cave-in. In truth, the Blackwoods have ascended, as Thorn calls it. In a frenzied ritual, they ingested a potent venom brew, their bodies convulsing in ecstatic death throes, souls supposedly merging with the serpent. Their remains, dissolved in acidic pools deep underground, bones scattered as offerings. The narrative coils tighter. Amelia, torn between devotion and dread, confides in a journal hidden beneath her floorboards. The shadow lengthens. What have we awakened? As part 1 fades, the cult stands on the precipice, their secrets burrowing deeper, the hollows more gaping wider. The tale deepens, shadows thickening like congealing blood. Midsummer 1876 cloaks Ava in oppressive heat, the air shimmering with mirages that twist the hills into serpentine forms. The cult, now entrenched, operates in dual realms above ground, pious citizens below, devotees to the coiled one. Reverend Thorn's sermons grow cryptic, laced with references to shedding sins like skin, his congregation unwitting witnesses to veiled indoctrination. Amelia Voss emerges as a pivotal figure, her visions guiding the group. Pale and ethereal, with hair like moonlit silk, she navigates the caves with unnatural ease, as if the darkness whispers directions. In one expedition, they discover a vast chamber, the heart of the hollow, where bioluminescent fungi cast an eerie glow on walls etched with ancient petroglyphs, serpents devouring their tails, symbols of eternal cycles. Here the cult holds its most profane rites. Conflicts arise. Outsiders sense the rot. Sheriff Harlan, brother to the widow, investigates the Blackwood disappearance, his lantern probing the caves. He confronts Thorn. Folks say you've been seen slinking into that hollow with your flock. What unholy business you up to? Thorn's response is a chilling smile. Seeking truths the light fears to reveal. Haunting events escalate. One night, a cult member, doubting farmer Elias Crow, attempts to flee. In the ritual circle, he's restrained, forced to drink the venom. His screams echo through the tunnels as hallucinations consume him. Visions of serpents burrowing into his flesh. He collapses, body contorting impossibly, as if bones liquefy. The others watch in horrified fascination. Thorn proclaiming it, the shedding. Crow's corpse is left as bait, and by morning, it's gone. Dragged deeper by unseen forces, vanishings multiplied. The Voss family, Amelia's adoptive kin, joins the ascended, their home abandoned mid-prayer, Bible open to Genesis and the serpent's temptation. Town panic brews, whispers of a plague or Indian curse circulate. Thorn exploits this, organizing prayer vigils that double as recruitment. A chilling pinnacle, the Grand Awakening. On the autumn equinox, the cult descends en masse, torches flickering like serpent tongues. In the heart, they form a coil, chanting in a tongue pieced from Thorn's tomes, echoes of ancient Sumerian and Egyptian invocations. Amelia, entranced, channels the entity. I am the eternal, the devourer of worlds. Feed me your frail forms and rise renewed. Sacrifices intensify. A captured drifter, bound and venom injected, writhers as hallucinations peel away his sanity. The cult believes his essence nourishes the great serpent, whose presence manifests. Tremors shake the chamber, stalactites drip like fangs, and a low hiss fills the air. Is it geological, hallucinogenic, or truly supernatural? Betrayal looms. Widow Harlan, conscience gnawing, steals Thorn's journal, revealing plans for a mass ascension, the entire cult vanishing into the earth. She confides in the sheriff, but before action, she's found dead in her bed, throat marked with puncture wounds, no snake in sight. Climax builds in a storm-ravaged night. The cult gathers for the final rite, but the sheriff ambushes, guns drawn. Chaos erupts, torches extinguish in gusts, darkness swallows all. Screams mingle with thunder, bodies fall, some to bullets, others to venom-induced frenzy. Thorn, cornered, invokes the serpent. Rise and consume! The ground splits, a chasm opening, swallowing several into abyss. Survivors flee, but the hollow claims more. Amelia, last seen descending deeper, vanishes with Thorn. The sheriff, wounded, seals the cave with dynamite, vowing silence. In the aftermath, the town erases the memory. Church records are purged by fearful elders, pages burned in midnight fires, families relocate, hollow avoided. Yet, echoes remain, strange tremors, sightings of spectral figures, and crows circling eternally. The narrative closes this part with lingering dread, the cult not destroyed, but burrowed deeper, waiting. To understand the serpent cult of Crow Hollow, we must unearth the roots from which it sprang, blending the fertile soil of history with the twisted vines of folklore. The year 1876 marks America's centennial, a time of reflection amid reconstruction, but in the Ozarks, isolation bred unique syncretisms of belief. Ava, Missouri, founded in 1871 as Militia Springs, was a product of post-Civil War migration. Douglas County, carved from the wilderness, bore scars of Union encampments and guerrilla warfare. Settlers, many veterans, carried traumas that made fertile ground for esoteric pursuits. Serpent worship, or ophiolatry, traces back millennia. In ancient Mesopotamia, the serpent god Ningishita guarded the underworld, symbolizing fertility and healing. Egyptian pharaohs wore the uraeus, a cobra emblem of divine authority. In India, Nagas, serpent deities, protected waters and treasures, revered in Hindu and Buddhist traditions. Closer to home, Native American cultures in the Mississippi Valley built serpent mounds, like the Great Serpent Mound in Ohio, dating to 300 BCE, representing cosmic forces or underworld guardians. The Osage, indigenous to the Ozarks, viewed snakes as mediators between realms, their shedding akin to spiritual renewal. In 19th century America, these threads wove into fringe movements. The Second Great Awakening spawned millenarian sects, some incorporating occult elements. Snake-handling cults, though peaking in the 20th century in Appalachia, had precursors in frontier revivals where handling venomous snakes tested faith, inspired by Mark 16:18. In the Ozarks, folklore abounded, tales of hoop snakes, rolling like wheels, or giant serpents in caves, blending European fairy tales with native lore. Church records vanishing adds eerie authenticity. Historical precedents exist. During the Salem witch trials, documents were altered to protect reputations. In 19th century America, Ghost towns like those in the West, abandoned mining camps, saw records lost to fire or neglect. Cults like the Millerites, awaiting the end times, dissolved post-disappointment, their histories scrubbed. More sinister, the Mountain Meadows Massacre of 1857 involved Mormon cover-ups, with records expunged. In Ava's context, the 1870s saw religious fervor amid economic hardship. Droughts and locust plagues drove desperation, some turned to spiritualism. Popular post-war for contacting the dead. Occult societies like the Hermetic Order influenced intellectuals, their symbols including serpents as Kundalini energy. Folklore enhances the chill. European immigrants brought tales of lindworms and basilisks, deadly serpents. In Missouri, legends of the Piasa bird, a dragon-like creature, merged with snake myths. Vanishing communities echo real mysteries like the lost colony of Roanoke or abandoned prairie towns post-plague. Blending fact, the cult might have drawn from Freemasonic symbols, the Ouroboros or alchemical texts, accessible via traveling peddlers. Caves in the Ozarks, like those in Mark Twain's tales, were seen as portals to hellish realms. This context lends unsettling verisimilitude. The serpent, a universal archetype, tapping primal fears in a frontier where civilization was thin, and the wild whispered temptations. Beneath the narrative coils lie profound symbols and psychological depths, connecting the serpent cult to universal human shadows. The serpent as archetype embodies duality in Jungian terms, the shadow self, repressed desires surfacing as temptation or transformation. In Crow Hollow, it represents the Ides emergence in a repressed Victorian society where frontier hardships amplified inner turmoil. Thematically, the story probes hidden evil in communal structures. Churches, symbols of order, become subversion sites, mirroring real historical ironies like corrupt clergy in 19th-century revivals. The vanishing records symbolize collective amnesia, societies erasing traumas to preserve sanity, akin to cultural repression post-slavery or native displacement. Universal fears the underground evokes the unconscious, caves as wombs or tombs. Descending rituals symbolize catabasis, journeys to the underworld for knowledge, like Orpheus or Dante. But twisted into horror, Venom-induced visions tap psychedelic explorations, echoing ancient mystery cults like Eleusinian rites, where altered states revealed divine truths, but here they devour the self. Cultural trauma in 1876 America. The cult reflects post-war disillusionment. Veterans like Thorne seek meaning beyond a god who allowed carnage, turning to primal forces. Serpent as tempter recalls Eden, but subverted. Knowledge, not sin, but liberation from mortality's coil. Human nature. The cult's escalation illustrates groupthink and escalation of commitment, psychological phenomena where devotion blinds to atrocity. Amelia's arc embodies the innocent corrupted, her visions a metaphor for intuition warped by charisma. Ominously, it connects to modern fears, hidden societies, conspiracies lurking beneath normalcy. The serpent's rebirth motif warns of cycles, evil shedding forms but persisting. Intellectually, it invites reflection: is the serpent evil or humanity's projection? In folklore, it's guardian or destroyer. In psychology, individuation symbol. The tale haunts because it mirrors our duality, civilization's thin skin over primal urges. As our tale uncoils to its end, the mists of Crow Hollow linger, a spectral veil over truths half buried. The serpent cult vanished in 1876, leaves echoes, caves sealed but whispering, records purged yet memories festering. What became of Thorne and Amelia? Did they ascend, merging with the eternal, or perish in delusion's grip? Modern explorers report anomalies, unexplained seismic activity, serpentine fossils defying science. This story haunts because it reminds us shadows persist. In every town, beneath every church, coils something ancient waiting. Listen, do you hear the hiss? Good night, and remember, the shadow behind you may be watching.